I just wanted to bring you guys together to have a quick chat about what we're seeing in terms of online financial services. 90-something% of branches are closed. There are many banks that are not doing any new account opening at the branches. The industry is recognizing just how vital it is to have online channels and online products. And I think it's interesting for Brankas because that's a lot of what we help enable, right? Is making it easier for banks to partner with fintechs and for fintechs to make banking more accessible to their users. So let me start with Mike. Maybe you have a couple thoughts on online banking strategies, what products are asking for, where is there demand that there wasn't before?
We're definitely getting approached on people who are interested in being able to digitally open bank accounts, right? We've been talking to a number of fintech companies, for example, where they want to be able to enable their end users to open bank accounts digitally, both in the likes of Indonesia and the Philippines, right? A lot of companies are coming to Brankas and talking to us about being able to access account information at the authentication and authorization of the end user.
And are banks able to make these changes quickly? Is this really something we can do during COVID versus something that has to be baked into some 18-month roadmap, right?
Yeah, that's right. So banks are struggling to move fast on this. I mean, reality from what we're seeing today is that we're actually getting approached more and more because they need to be able to shift their infrastructure into a more sort of digital capability. What we've also found is that banks that have already taken these steps forward are pushing harder on new features and new products which are enabling for this digital capability. Where we're finding banks are moving faster are ones which are already have a vision for digital enablement, and we tend to find those are the ones which we work with the fastest, right?
Yeah. And Donald, with the perspective on the Philippines, so a lot of the friction with, online transactions or online banking generally is there are a lot of paper processes still. And I think generally the central bank in the Philippines has been pretty open to adjusting what are called eKYC, right? So tell us about what you've seen in Philippines and how that might have changed recently for the better, I think.
Well, yeah, that's right, Todd. So for example, in the Philippines, the Bangko Sentral or the BSP temporarily suspended or relaxed KYC rules by dispensing with the presentation of a valid ID requirement to open an account or transact with the bank. And banks have tentatively until June 30 of this year to avail of this temporary or relaxed rule, subject to some qualifications being mentioned by the BSP, such as transactions in these accounts should not exceed 50,000 pesos per day, or that the customer actually agrees to have the BSP monitor their accounts.
What do you think is the message for some of these institutions in Southeast Asia that basically, have relied on branches traditionally and now realize we're looking at a lot of challenges in terms of acquiring new customers, engaging those customers in branches, and trying to win new business through online channels, right?
The situation with COVID-19 is obviously hurting the economies of all countries around the world at the moment, but it's hurting it in a different way to the 2008 GFC, right? People are not going out, they're not spending cash, and there's going to be a point in a few months from now when people start getting back out there, right? Is that there's all of a sudden a huge amount of cash going to flow back into the ecosystem because people are going out and spending even more than they were before COVID happened, right? And it's going to be a sort of wave when this occurs. Now, the question here is, do banks want to be ready for that or not, right? And if they want to be ready for it, then they need to maintain their services through digital means, right? Giving access to for people to access not just bank account information, but a whole plethora of different financial services as well in preparation for when that occurs, right? But you have to start with giving access to the a bank account, which can be done digitally with banks as things get, as Donald pointed out, things are getting relaxed, right? We're seeing it in the Philippines. In Indonesia, I'm going to assume that it's going to start happening too very soon, whereby they are going to start relaxing these things as well as a matter of necessity, right? And they may even start accelerating. So the next step from the video call verification KYC they have in Indonesia today is to go to biometric, right? I would imagine that would be accelerated as well. So message, TLDR, messages, get online so that you can take advantage of when the situation improves.
And there's no better time than now to build, these online capabilities. So anyway, thanks for the perspective, Donald and Mike. Have a good one. Be healthy. Be safe.